Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we basically take a mountain of information, dig through it, and just hand you the really fascinating bits, without the headache.
Exactly.
Today, we're plunging into the ancient world. Think heroes, myths, epic battles, stuff that genuinely shaped history as we know it.
Yeah, and we're not just rattling off a timeline. We're going on a journey, really, through these amazing battles, the clever strategies, empires rising and falling, uncovering those moments that didn't just define ancient Greece, but really laid the groundwork for Western culture.
That's it. So, our mission today, a deep dive into four, absolutely pivotal conflicts. We'll kick off with the legendary Trojan War way back, maybe 1200 BCE.
It's territory, yeah.
Then jump forward to the huge Greco-Persian Wars in the 5th century BCE. After that, the Peloponnesian War, Greece tearing itself apart.
Real tragedy, that one.
And finally, wrapping up with the game-changing wars of Alexander the Great.
And here's the promise to you listening. This isn't going to be just a dry history lesson. We're exploring the turning points, the surprising stuff, the legacies that, still resonate.
You'll get up to speed fast, but properly, Lots of aha moments, hopefully connecting things you maybe hadn't thought about before.
Definitely. It's all connected.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start right at the beginning with a war so wrapped in legend, people argued for centuries if it even happened. The Trojan War.
Right, the Trojan War. Mythologically, it's huge. Traditionally dated around the 12th, maybe 13th century BC, late Bronze Age.
And it's not just a story, it's like the formative story in Greek mythology, mostly from Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, but also other poems, later writings, piecing it all together.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how myth and what people later think of as history get tangled up. The Trojan War, unlike the other conflicts we'll get into, doesn't kick off with politics or trade disputes.
No, it's all gods and goddesses squabbling. Really shows you how central they were to the Greek mindset.
Absolutely. The spark is divine drama, pure and simple. Starts at a wedding Callias, a mortal king marrying Thetis, a sea nymph.
Now, Thetis was apparently so stunning even Zeus wanted her, but there was this prophecy.
Right, the prophecy that her son would be greater than his father. Zeus, being Zeus, didn't want that kind of competition.
Smart move. So he marries her off to a human. Big wedding, all the gods invited, except one.
Eris, goddess of discord. Never a good idea to leave her off the guest list.
Definitely not. So feeling snubbed, she chucks this golden apple into the party.
The famous apple of discord.
Exactly, with for the fairest written on it. Instant chaos.
Oh, yeah. Hera, the queen of the gods. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. And Aphrodite, goddess of love. They all grab for it.
And none of the other gods want to touch this decision. Smart.
Very smart. So Zeus passes the buck to a mortal, Paris, a Trojan prince. But at the time, he's hiding out as a shepherd because of another prophecy.
Prophecies everywhere. This one said he'd bring ruin to Troy. Ominous.
Very. So Paris has to judge. And the goddesses, they start bribing him. Offers a real insight into what mattered, doesn't it?
Totally. Athena offers, wisdom, battle skills, the best warrior stuff.
Right. Hera offers political power, rule over Asia. Huge deal.
But Aphrodite, she offers him the love of the most beautiful mortal woman alive, Helen of Sparta.
And Paris? Well, he chose Aphrodite. Maybe not surprising, but disastrous. Set everything in motion.
Which leads straight to Helen ending up in Troy, whether she was abducted or went willingly. It's debated, isn't it?
It is. Homer paints it as Paris visiting Sparta while her husband, King Menelaus, is away in Crete. Paris basically spirits her away, maybe with some divine help from Aphrodite and Eros.
That act alone, breaking hospitality rules, stealing another king's wife, massive outrage.
Huge. But there are other versions too, aren't there? Like the one where Hera swaps Helen for a cloud clone, Nephele, and the real Helen ends up in Egypt.
Yeah, complicates things. But for Homer, the Helen in Troy is the real deal. The face that launched 1,000 ships, literally.
So Menelaus is obviously furious. But how does one king rally all the other Greek kings for his personal fight?
Well, that goes back to before Helen even married Menelaus. She had tons of suitors, powerful guys.
Right, a potentially explosive situation. Whoever she chose, the others might get violent.
Exactly. So Odysseus, always the clever one, comes up with a plan. Get all the suitors to swear an oath.
The oath of Tyndareus, Helen's father.
That's the one. They all swore to defend Helen's chosen husband, whoever it was. bound by this incredibly serious oath.
Sealed on pieces of a sacrificed horse, wasn't it? Very solemn.
And that's the oath Menelaus uses. He calls it in, basically saying, you all swore, now pony up. It's what brings the Achaeans, the Greeks, together. Odysseus's cleverness kind of backfired on everyone in the long run.
It really did. So Agamemnon, Menelaus' brother, king of powerful Mycenae, takes charge of recruitment. But not everyone's keen.
No way. Odysseus himself tried to dodge it, right? Pretending to be mad.
Yeah, famously plowing the beach and sowing salt. Though Palamedes, another clever guy, puts Odysseus' baby son, Telemachus, in the path of the plow.
Oof. Odysseus has to swerve, proving he's sane.
Trapped. Exactly. Then there's Achilles, destined for greatness, but also for doom.
His mother, Thetis, the sea nymph, she knew the prophecy, right? Long, quiet life or short, glorious death at Troy.
She tried everything to protect him, making him immortal, dipping him in the river Styx.
But missed the heel, the famous Achilles heel.
Precisely. She even hid him on the island of Skyros, dressed as a girl among the king's daughters.
How did they find him out?
Odysseus again. Different stories, but one says he laid out gifts, jewelry, and weapons. Achilles instinctively went for the weapons. Another says they blew a battle horn, and Achilles grabbed a spear. Game over. He had to go.
So they finally get these heroes, but even getting to Troy is an ordeal.
Oh, yes. Setbacks and sacrifices. First, they land in the wrong place, Mysia. Achilles wounds the local king, Telephus.
And the wound won't heal until Achilles heals it himself, with rust from the spear.
Exactly. An oracle said, he who wounded shall heal. Weird detour, but apparently Telephus then showed them the right way to Troy.
Okay, so they're ready to go again. They gather at Aulis. Huge fleet, but then no wind.
Be calmed. The seer Calchas declares the goddess Artemis is angry with Agamemnon. Maybe he boasted about hunting. Maybe he killed a sacred deer.
And the price to appease her? Unthinkable.
Agamemnon has to sacrifice his own daughter, Iphigenia. It's horrifying. Accounts vary. Did he actually do it? Did Artemis swap her for a deer at the last second?
Some say she whisked Iphigenia away to become a priestess or even a goddess.
Regardless, the implication is huge. The cost of this war, even before it properly starts, is immense. Personal, brutal sacrifice demanded by the gods.
It really sets the tone, doesn't it? This isn't just a human war.
Not at all. Divine intervention is everywhere. So they finally sail. The scale is massive. The Iliad's catalog of ships lists forces. Estimates run from 70,000 to over 100,000 men. Thousands of ships.
Wow. And even landing is dangerous. Another prophecy.
Yes. The first Greek ashore would be the first to die. Protesilaus bravely leaps off his ship first.
And gets killed by Hector, Troy's greatest warrior. Tragic. Though didn't Odysseus try to game that one too?
Some versions say he threw his shield down first, so it landed before him. Clever, maybe, but Protesilaus still died.
Okay, so the siege begins. 9 long years. Homer's Iliad only covers a few weeks in the 10th year, right?
That's right. But for 9 years, the Achaeans are camped outside Troy. They're not just sitting there, though. They're raiding Troy's allies all around the Aegean.
Grabbing supplies, weakening Troy's support network. Achilles was big on this, wasn't he? Conquering cities and islands.
He was. But supplies were still a constant struggle. They even brought in these mythical women, the wine growers, who could magically produce food and drink just to keep the army fed.
And Troy itself wasn't totally cut off. They still got help.
Yeah, they maintained links inland, got reinforcements. It wasn't a complete lockdown, which helps explain why it dragged on for so long.
So the Iliad kicks off in the 10th year. What's the flashpoint?
It's all about honor, tunny, and pride. Agamemnon has to give up his war prize, a woman named Chrysis, because her father is a priest of Apollo, and Apollo sent a plague.
Okay, makes sense.
But then Agamemnon, feeling slighted, just takes Achilles' war prize, Briseis, instead.
Big mistake. You don't dishonor your best warrior.
Huge mistake. Achilles is enraged. It's a massive public insult. He withdraws from the fighting, takes his elite Myrmidon soldiers with him.
And suddenly the Greeks start losing badly. Shows how vital Achilles was.
Absolutely. His rage, Menes, is the central theme of the Iliad. The consequences are devastating for the Greeks.
So what brings him back? It's personal tragedy, isn't it?
Deeply personal. The Trojans push the Greeks right back to their ships. Achilles' closest friend, Patroclus, begs to be allowed to fight, wearing Achilles' armor to scare the Trojans and inspire the Greeks.
Achilles agrees, but warns him not to push too far.
But Patroclus gets caught up in the moment, fights brilliantly, kills many Trojans, but then he's killed by Hector.
Oh, devastating for Achilles.
Completely. That loss flips the switch. His sulking rage turns into this terrifying, almost inhuman fury focused entirely on revenge against Hector.
He returns to battle, basically unstoppable, leads to the final showdown with Hector.
Yes, the climax of the Iliad. Achilles kills Hector outside the walls of Troy, then brutally desecrates his body, dragging it behind his chariot.
A really dark moment, even for an epic hero.
It shows the depth of his grief and rage. But the cycle of death continues. Achilles himself, despite being nearly invincible.
He eventually falls, the arrow to the heel guided by Apollo, shot by Paris.
That's the most famous version. Others say he was treacherously killed while trying to marry a Trojan princess, Polixena. But his fate was sealed.
And other heroes fall too, right? After the Iliad ends.
Yeah, the wider epic cycle tells of Penthesilea, the Amazon queen, fighting for Troy, killed by Achilles. Memnon of Ethiopia, another powerful ally, also killed by Achilles.
And Ajax, one of the top Greek fighters.
Ajax has a tragic end. After Achilles dies, he disputes with Odysseus over who should get Achilles' divine armor. When Odysseus wins, Ajax goes mad with grief and shame, slaughters sheep thinking they're Greek leaders, and then kills himself. The hero ranks are thinning out.
So Troy's still standing, but both sides are losing heroes. How does it finally fall? Not by storming the walls.
Nope. It falls through deception. Odysseus' masterstroke, the Trojan horse.
The giant wooden horse left outside the gates.
Exactly. Dedicated to Athena, supposedly as a gift for a safe journey home. The Greek army pretends to sail away, hiding just out of sight.
Making the Trojans think they've won. The war's over.